Hey, y'all. Welcome to St. Paul. We are so glad you're here today. And let's stand and we'll start with worship. Again, welcome here to St. Paul. My name is Brandon. This next few moments, let's look around, shake some hands, give some hugs to some folks you may have never met before, and we'll continue with worship after that. Just one word, you calm the storm that surrounds me. Just one word, the darkness has to retreat. Just one touch, I feel the presence of heaven. Just one touch, my eyes were open to see. My heart can't help but believe now. There's nothing that our God can do, not a mountain that He can move. Praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can do. Just one word, you heal what's broken inside me. Just one word, you revive every dream. Just one touch, I feel the power of heaven. Just one touch, my eyes were open to see. My heart can't help but believe now. There's nothing that our God can do, not a mountain that He can move. Praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can do. There's nothing that our God can do, not a prison wall He can't break through. Praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. I will believe. I will believe for greater things. There's no power like the power of Jesus. Let faith arise, let all agree. There's no power like the power of Jesus. I will believe for greater things. There's no power like the power of Jesus. Let faith arise, let all agree. There's no power like the power of Jesus. I will believe for greater things. There's no power like the power of Jesus. Let faith arise, let all agree. There's no power like His power, nothing that our God can do, not a mountain that He can move. Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can do. No. There's nothing that our God can do, not a prison wall He can't break through. Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can do. No. Oh, oh, oh.
Good morning, everybody. This is a chance in our service when we are given the opportunity to give back to Christ for all of the wonderful things He's done for us and for this church and the people that are here, which is, let's face it, that's the church, right? So if you've had the opportunity to be blessed by this place and you're part of this and if you're visiting, we welcome you to please feel free to give if you'd like, but there's certainly no obligation at all.
Oh, soul, are you weary and troubled? no light in the darkness you see. There's a light for a look at the Savior, and life more abundant and free. Through death into life everlasting, he passed and we follow him there. O'er sin no more hath dominion, for more than conquerors we are. Turn your eyes, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Of his grace. His word shall not fail you, he promised. Believe him and all will be well. Then go to a world that is dying, his perfect salvation to take. Oh, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strange to them in the light of his glory and amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Hey, St. Paul, it's Trey Skaggs. We're so grateful to have you in our 11:15 service this morning. And as you might have noticed, Ethan and Selby and I are all in North Carolina, along with a host of volunteers and our youth. We're up here for the M28 camp at Lake Junaluska, and we're having a blast, and we miss you. But we wanted to send you a message today. We're so grateful that you're with us in worship. And you may or may not know this, but we've been in this sermon series in John's Gospel talking about who Jesus is. And we've dived into him being the light of the world, that he is the living water, that he is our salvation. And today, to kind of cap off this series in my absence, we have two of our church members who are going to come up and share a little bit about who Christ is to them and how St. Paul is helping to shape them and disciple them into the image of Christ, and how they are called to help shape others into the image of Christ. So today, we're so grateful to have Hillary Mathis as well as Dr. Joe Pacriva to come and speak and share a witness with us. And Hillary, I welcome you. Go ahead and start making your way up to the stage now.
My name is Hillary Mathis, and I am a member of St. Paul. My husband, Mark, and I have 4 kids, and we've been going here for about 2 years now, and we just absolutely love it. A couple weeks ago, Trey messaged me and asked if I would be interested in speaking today, and my first thought was, absolutely not. I will pass out. This is not my thing. But then I started thinking 2 things that are most important to my life. My first being my faith, and then the second being my family. And not just my immediate family, but also my church family. And so surely I can share a little bit about myself and why I love St. Paul so much with my church family. My testimony is fairly typical. I grew up in a Baptist church. I feel like anytime the doors were open, I was there. Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, Wednesday nights, and all the trips and VBSs. And then I was saved pretty early on, and then got baptized shortly after. I was about 9 or 10. And then as I grew up and went off to college, I just thought I didn't need church anymore. So I stopped going. I just kind of did my own thing. And eventually, I realized something was missing in my life. And so thankfully, I had a roommate who invited me to go to church with her. And ever since then, I've been going. And the church has always been like a second home to me. And so when me and my husband first got married, we moved a lot. But as soon as we settled, the first things that we would do is start visiting churches, and we would find a church home. And over the years, we have visited a lot of churches, and there is nothing like going to the church and feeling welcome when you walk through the doors. And then the first time we came to St. Paul, we felt so welcome. Everyone is genuinely happy that you are here. And so one of the things that Trey asked me to speak on was who has invested in me. And that's easy. It's the church. I'm so thankful for the pastors, the life groups, the mom groups, the youth groups, the children's ministries, and the list could go on. And not just these groups, but the leaders in these groups. They have helped shape me and my family and helped me continue to grow in my faith. And another question he asked was, how are you being challenged to take new steps in faith? Well, thanks to Trey speaking to y'all today, it's been one of my biggest leaps. But not only that, St. Paul has so much to offer. And I love to try and help out as much as possible when I can. They are literally making Jesus known in all that they do, and the different ministries they support. There's The Lord is My Help, Helping Hands, and Operation Christmas Child, just to name a few. And so I'm going to challenge y'all. If you've been thinking about visiting a life group or a Bible study, family night, men's breakfast, or any one of the awesome youth events, or just helping with the ministry, do it. Just try it out. What is the worst thing that could happen? You could possibly meet some amazing people that will pray with you, that won't judge you, that will be there with you during the bad times, and also celebrate with you during the good times. When we were living in West Texas and nowhere close to family, I don't know what we would have done without our church family at the time. When my husband was in the hospital for a week and we were also caring for a new baby, or when we needed someone to watch our son, we feel that same kind of connection here with our church family. If we ever needed anything, they would come at the drop of a hat. And so if you're looking to join a group, I highly recommend The Porch. Not only do we have some of the best leaders, including one that you get to hear next, we have some of the best or most amazing people in our group. And they knew how nervous I was today, and they were some of my biggest cheerleaders and biggest, just rooting me on today. I'm also in a mom's life group, and again, I can't say enough good things about them. These ladies are so amazing and supportive and encouraging, and I just love doing life with them. And we also invite you to come join us if you're interested. And of course, I also want to mention the wonderful kids ministry that we have here. Heather is so great, and my kids love coming to church and learning about Christ, and I just love that so much. I also challenge you that if you're currently in a class or a life group, invite someone to join you. Sometimes some of us just need an extra push or a nudge, and then another nudge. And I want to end on a passage that stuck out to me recently. It's from Proverbs 27:19, and it says, "As a face is reflected in the water, so the heart reflects the real person." And I think it's evident that the heart of St. Paul shines so bright and shows so much love through all of the wonderful staff, members, and ministries. Thank you so much for letting me share today. I just love my St. Paul family so much.
Hang with me, Lord. Edna was a beautiful woman. I don't remember what she looked like, but I know how she made people feel. I was busy, the department was full. The tyranny of the urgent just got more chaotic with a new patient in bed 7. I remember her well, though, despite being just the ambulance in bed 7. I recall her gentle, welcoming smile that put everyone at ease. She showed more interest in who was in the room than her current circumstances. She knew very well that something very wrong had happened. However, her self-control belied her shortened and externally rotated right leg. Admittedly, I'm usually ready to press on with the expedient, but that day I slowed down, I sat down, and I held a hand. I wanted to know why she had this peace. I wanted to know where she was from. I wanted to know where she grew up and who her people were. I thought I was there to help her, but I was the one being ministered to. Edna had no family. She had outlived everyone in her life. I've seen this. You've seen this before. It's among the saddest of human experience. The lonesomeness can be too much to bear. However, she had a joy about her that was unusual. There was another woman in the room. Perhaps I previously assumed it was her daughter. She was patiently listening to our conversation as Edna showed no evidence of discomfort and afforded me the gift of her presence. I looked at her guests as to say, "Who is this Edna?" I asked her how she was related, and I was informed that she was just a friend. She laughed and said, "One of many." She was just the first one to get to the hospital after she had heard that Edna had fallen. There was currently a crowd amassing in the waiting room, and they want to know when it's their turn to sit with Miss Edna. Edna was tiny. She was frail. She was 92 years old with an army of people that loved her. I don't remember many details, but it really doesn't matter, does it? It was clear that she had lived a life that had influenced other people the same way that she did and was with me. Eventually, I placed the orders, and I discussed her with the orthopedic surgeon, admitting her to the hospital to have her hip fracture repaired. I followed up on Miss Edna a few weeks later to find out that she had died from pneumonia, a well-known complication of this injury. It made me so sad to hear this, but somehow I don't think Edna suffered. I wrote this story here today to remind me and you of what heaven looks like. Despite her circumstances, she wasn't bitter, she wasn't angry, nor was she afraid. She had love, joy, peace, she had patience. She was kind, she was good, faithful. And in this chaotic disaster, her gentle self-control won over a busy, easily distracted emergency physician. I only hope I can lead a life which is so rich. What a privilege I was given. I want to talk to you a little bit about heaven today. A few weeks ago, Trey did a sermon where he discussed or talked about the Feast of the Tabernacles in Jerusalem, where they lit the city ablaze so that all the cities in the countryside around in the dark could see this one light up there and be reminded of how God guided them in the darkness. And it was that sermon that spurred me to come up with what I'm discussing with you today, that he just nailed it on the head with that. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. That's John 8:12. This idea that there's this light out there, there's something that you can focus on and move towards that brings you closer to heaven. Years ago, it was the 1st of January, and I decided that I wanted to go out sailing because it was pleasant weather. It was warm enough, and so I decided to go out sailing. And I could see that there was fog out there, but I thought, I'll just sail around and, we'll avoid that. That's not what happened. I found myself stuck in the fog bank. Now, if you've ever done this before, it's very disorienting. This was in the days before GPS, and I didn't have a compass. I just had my own wits about where north, east, south, and west was, and how I was going to get home. And the more I tried, the more I realized I didn't know where I was. I had nothing. I had no light. I had no guidance. I had no anything to tell me where I was. Yet I was confident, and I kept sailing, and I kept going, and eventually I ran into shore. Nowhere near where I thought I was. And aren't we like this? As we sit there and grope through life, we're trying to figure out how to get to the next place. We think we know where we're going, and yet we bump into things where we don't know where we are. And in John 8:12, once again, he says, I am the light of the world, is that thing that you can focus on. I think that's a little piece of what heaven is. Matthew 6:33, but seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Once again, this idea that you're seeking this kingdom, this light. In our well-known prayer that we say in church and at football games and on our own, in Matthew 6:9-13, we know it well. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. When I was a young man, I thought that being a Christian was this idea that, well, now that I'm a Christian, I'm going to heaven. But as I got older, it just didn't seem practical enough that there was something going to happen at some point in the future. What about the here? What about right here, right now? And if you read Jesus' scripture, you'll see over and over again, he keeps trying to tell us, it is right here, right now. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I want you to experience. Think of that woman at the well, just last week's sermon. It's so poignant when you think about that poor woman who is just suffering in hell, completely separated from her family, from her community, from God, and she suffers, and she meets Jesus, who then helps her get closer to heaven and to experience that heaven right here and right now. So why Edna? Why did I bring her up? What a wonderful woman she was. And I only knew her for a few minutes. She impressed me. What does heaven look like? In Galatians 5:22 and 23, it describes the fruits of the Spirit, which are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I think that's what heaven looks like. When you have that experience, when you experience those fruits of the Spirit, I think that's what heaven looks like. I need a faith that doesn't only give me peace and joy when I'm out on my sailboat by myself and enjoying God's creation. I need a faith that gives me love, joy, peace, and patience at the grocery store, with my family, with myself, at work, when I'm tired, when I'm happy. I think that's what heaven looks like. Heaven is here with us, enjoying each other's company. St. Paul's has been a wonderful experience for us. We moved here in 2010 and began coming to school here. We raised our kids here, and now we have the privilege of serving and with The Porch, our Sunday school class. And please come enjoy the fellowship. It's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing as we grow up together and help raise each other's children and help each other through this life, right? Somehow we need to experience heaven right here and right now. And I think this is how I do this. So I wanted to share that with you today. So, thank you.
Continue with worship. Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you, live for you. Jesus, a name above every other name. Jesus, the only one that could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you, live for you. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you, oh, we live for you. Jesus, the name above Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for this community and church that we call St. Paul, and then we have folks that are willing to get up here and share their experiences with you, Lord. I just pray that we all are willing to open up our hearts for you to shine and to work in our hearts, Lord, and to be able to walk along with and serve you and serve the church, Lord. Lord, we thank you for everything you do, for your love and your grace, and I pray for safety as we leave here today. Lord, thank you for all you do. Amen. You are dismissed.